The come up show, the come up show, the come up, the come up show, the come up, the come up, the come up. We on Wall Street, baby. I was just talking before we went on, man. I was just over by the bull, just like, man, that bull gets nothing but love, man. People from all over the world just coming to see this bull. That's how you know you on Wall Street, man. I'm here. I got my man DWI. I got a very special guest. Upon all y'all requests, you know what I'm saying? I'm bringing him back because we got some serious stuff to talk about on Yap the Come Up Show. But first off, man, DWI, man, we got the 50th anniversary celebration, and I don't go out much, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in the building heavy. Yo, let the people know what we got going on, man, how we going to be celebrating this thing, where they can get their tickets at, how much they cost, and what to expect at this celebration of life, and celebration of growth, and celebration of success and years of grinding, years of just putting in work, blood, sweat, and tears, recording artists from the Bronx and all over. After artists, the beginners, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has touched through your studios. That's why I chose you. That's why I chose this, so we could go ahead and let everybody know about your come up, how you got to 50 years anniversary, and we could talk about everybody's come up when they come up on the Come Up Show in regards to their trials and tribulations and things of that nature. So Friday, what we doing?
So Friday is the 25-year anniversary for the Matrix Studios, but it's the 50-year anniversary for me being alive.
Wow.
So half of my life I've been doing what I love to do, which is running the Matrix Studios in the Bronx, New York, and giving people a platform to tell their story in the communities.
That's beautiful, man. And, you know, we spoke on your podcast about how you started this whole thing in an apartment, and you had a regular job, but you just started recording people and it all started adding up. You were charging each artist for their session, and you was out there putting in, I'm talking about you work from everybody, to Cardi B, Fat Joe, Pistol Pete, our whole team, all the way from the Boogeyman. So, I mean, it's definitely...
Don't forget Nipsey and J. Cole, KRS-One.
Hey.
DMC.
I mean, your library of work is undeniable. It's unmatched, man, and I'm grateful. Thank you for the opportunity and for the invitation, man. We definitely heavily going to be in the building. So where's this thing going down at?
It's going down Friday at the Sokofa House on 135th Street in the Bronx, right off the 135th Street bridge. Shout out to my guy DJ Spinfo and Mike Barber for hosting it. They are actually a part of the network. They've been a part of the network for some years. So, you know, we doing things with Black and Brown and making it go around.
I like that, man. I like that. I mean, just to be able to especially go back to where this all started, right? We're going to be in the Boogie Down celebrating. It's only right.
Yeah, it's only right.
You know what I mean? So listen, I want to, for the people out there, all our viewers, thank you for all the subscribers, man. This show is just kicking off, and we really appreciate the fact that our next guest is here is because of all the love and all the comments. Obviously, you guys were very intrigued by our last show, so we're going to continue to bring him back as part of our Upstate Reform leader as he's hitting the ground paving and visiting all these facilities on behalf of both sides. You know what I'm saying? But DWI.
Yep.
You're involved in this show today. Is going to be special.
I see. I'm over here on the ones and twos.
What are we going to do in regards to the information about the ticket sales for Friday real quick for that slips my mind?
I mean, they can go to the website, www.thematrixstudios.com, and just click to go on the event page and then just buy a ticket. If you're just coming in and you're not going to be hungry, just pay $25. That represents the 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
To get you through the doors. If you decide that you want to eat, then you can and party with DWI, have a drink, then $50 will get you through the door with your admission and with your get you a nice plate of food catered by Ruthie's Kitchen, which is going to be amazing. I picked the caterer. Again, someone that I grew up with. I had the pleasure of mentoring her son since the age of 19, straight out of high school, and now, you know, we like 10 to 15 years later, and she's cooked at several of my events, and she makes the best mac and cheese and fried chicken and that good soul food. So
and it's Friday.
The menu, and fish is gonna be on the menu too. The soulful menu is gonna be so good, and I know the food is gonna be amazing. So trust me, what you spending on that food, you're gonna eat good. You're gonna feel good. It's gonna be a great vibe.
I am gonna be chilling at this party like that new movie that's coming out that just got approved the last Friday. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they did? They just approved it?
Yeah, that's what I've been told,
Wow.
man. That's exciting, man. I can't wait. So with that being said, you know, I have a long history of doing events. You know, I got my first liquor license when I was 22. I had 3 different venues and nightclubs. I did a lot of promotions all throughout the United States. I've DJ'd all over. Do not call me or text me talking about meet me at the door for this event. That's insulting. If you can't come out and support this studio, what we doing, I don't even want to hear from you. You know what I'm saying? $25. If you spend that in McDonald's, you'll be offended with what you get back. You understand what I'm saying? You can't go to the grocery store right now and spend $25. So to be amongst us and have a good time, you want to spend a little more, have some really brilliant
and
food.
to keep it tall, as my man Robert would say, the event is going to be full with social media and industry and people that are movers and shakers in the, you know, it's not like a party where you go and everybody in there is going to be somebody. So It's going to be a whole networking event, and it's going to be a lot of love and a lot of, you know, a lot of cool vibes. And so, like
doors open at what time?
At 7:00.
Perfect.
And it ain't like 7, so get there at 9 because you think it's going to start. I'm going to be there at 7.
Yeah, no doubt.
Meeting and greeting.
No
you
doubt.
may see a couple of kids running around because it's a family vibe too. It's not a club. That's why we rented out the space so we can actually do what we want to do.
I love it. Special. So you guys getting a little bit more information on the event, man. And I'm excited about this. Now, Yap, the Come Up Show. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have really honed in on one of the episodes when we were talking about prison reform and the experiences that transpired, the strike, and things of that nature, where we had somebody that's very dear and special to me here. You know what I'm saying? So we got my man Israel Sanchez back in the building. Ya tu sabe. This is my Puerto Rican brother. You know I'm from Honduras, so we just caught a vibe right away when we met. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, thank you for coming back, man. Like I said, and I told them the first interview that, you know, we were going to be working on a lot of stuff in regards to reform and what's going on with the strike and just keeping everybody in tab and keeping everybody aware of what's going on. So last time you were here, we were able to touch bases on what exactly happened in regards to the strike, why it happened. And we also, you know, touch bases on some other thing that I think that's what people were really curious about when we got the comments and we got the questions in our inboxes and stuff like that in regards where I feel like people want us to dive in. But I'm gonna take it a step. I'm gonna take it a step back. And this is like one of the first times that I'm speaking about this publicly. It's a very vulnerable situation for me. So when I found out that traveling back and forth to Arizona would get me in violation probation, I'm fighting this case. Had I not ran after my kids in Arizona to spend time with them, and for whatever reason that aggravated the mother of my children, and this is a very important key, and I know that you've dealt with this a lot, you know what I'm saying, in regards to being a sergeant, okay? Where there's people that you're dealing with that are innocent or have been set up, and you could tell by their paperwork, their demeanor, that they're dealing with this. And so for me, I was in a very vulnerable situation because I was fighting a case where I violated probation while I was fighting that case. Then I could do a year. Okay, so when I went to court, the judge said to me, "Look, we're gonna give you a year for violation of probation anyway. But what we can do is it's a package deal. This is what my attorney was able to get me, because I'm fighting a case. And then the mother of my children called the police, said that I was harassing her. All these lies. I couldn't believe that people actually have the ability, especially somebody that you have taken care of and done so much for, that given the opportunity, because of my circumstances, would take an avenue knowing that they could bury me with paperwork. There's nothing a police officer or anybody can do at that point, my brother. If you call the cops on somebody you love or care about and you sign that statement, they have to take it to a courthouse and to a lawyer. There's nothing nobody can do. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be, as the man, removed from the householder situation. You know, in my case, I wasn't even living with her because I was afraid something like this happened. When I went to Arizona, the home that she brought with all my money and moved my kids across the country with, I didn't feel safe or comfortable there for this reason. You know, so she even then had to go hard enough, even though I'm not in her space, I'm not harassing, I'm doing everything I possibly can to just be able to be a father to my children. She makes all these lies and accusations that now she has to live by. Because once you lie on paperwork, you don't want to look like a liar at all. So now this is the bed that she laid. So now when I'm being betrayed by a woman that I had 3 beautiful children with, I'm like, yo, maybe this is God's way of saying, yo, I need to sit you down for a year so you can reevaluate your life and reevaluate the kind of people that you're surrounding yourself with. Here I am running around como un loco, crazy, trying to make these people happy, her whole family. And the minute that I came through some trials and accusations, a case that I would probably own this dealership right now. But I said, listen, you know what the judge said to me, Israel? Look, I'm gonna violate you anyway. So you could either take all these charges, because they were losing and I was spanking them, and we'll combine all these charges with this one violation. And you do the 1 year, and when you get out, you move on with your life. You're no longer on parole, you're no longer on probation. So I'm sitting there and I'm arguing with my lawyer. I'm like, nah, I want to take this to trial. And he goes to me, Edison, they're gonna ship you upstate, and you're gonna be coming all the way back to Orange County in shackles. You're gonna have to get naked in front of these officers, cough, bend over. You're gonna go through so many humiliations. What proof do you, what you got to, and it's gonna cost you another $20,000, $30,000 to pay me. So what are we doing here, Edison? Go do the year, go relax, you'll be fine. And that's what I did. And I just wanna tell you, that was the best thing that could ever happen to me. I want to tell you that I met some of the best men that I've ever came across with that wear green and blue. Some of the officers, because they knew my situation, went through all my paperwork, spoke to me, looked out for me. When I first got up there, my brother, first and foremost, I was only there. I went from the receiving unit, what's that called when you first get to? Reception. I went from reception to outside clearance. Fat Joe, Pistol Pete, my team, my family, my lawyers, whoever. Maybe some COs that I cut their hair that could look up everything that was going on with me. Whoever was moving things for me, because I went from that to outside clearance. That means that I was outside of the prison from 7 o'clock till like 4 or 5 o'clock at night. And you know what I was doing? I don't think I ever told you this, right? No. I was out there cutting trees. Okay. I learned, they gave me a chainsaw. Could you imagine? I'm a convicted criminal. But they trust me enough to leave me outside. I had a whole hut full of tools, knives, everything and anything you could possibly think of, I had access to. And then, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I am, because yo, you're retired, right?
Listen, he retired, but don't make him lose his pension. Don't go crazy, yo. Don't go crazy. Because, yo, Edison will go crazy up here. He's about, once he start prefacing, can he say something? It's like, you got to watch him. You got to watch him.
So, I even had officers like, So what happens with like the packages that the inmates can't get because it's not packaged properly? What's that stuff called?
They usually return.
No, I know, but why is it that some of that stuff like can't get in as far as package? Let's just say I put a package together for incarcerated individual, and I go to Walmart and I take everything, I throw in a box. Not everything's gonna be able to go in there because I didn't check the list, right? So usually, what's that called, or how's that work? Just so
It's either returned or destroyed.
Okay.
The inmate has the option.
All right.
If it's going to be returned home, they have to pay the shipping costs anyway.
And what kind of stuff like meat and stuff like that, right?
Stuff that's not sealed, what they call hermetically sealed properly.
Okay.
They won't accept it.
Okay. So we were getting all that stuff, man. my friends in blue, they would be like, nah, man, we're not gonna let this, we can't let it, but you know what, we'll bring it over there. They just can't bring it. I was never allowed to bring it in the facility. I had to keep it outside. And so I was back there barbecuing. I mean, I had correctional officers that loved me so much that, you know, I got to eat pizza, McDonald's, you know, when they went out to lunch and stuff like that. But the reason being, though, also, I was outside clearance. I'm cutting trees down. I'm working my ass off. That's the hardest job I've ever done. If I'm gonna buy a piece of property so big up in upstate New York where we live, and I'm cutting all them joints down myself and saving all the money on them. I know how to do that.
I got some trees.
I'm saying, I'm telling you, I'm a beast with them trees. And you know what we had to do? We chopped them up. We put them through the what do you call it? The splitter. Split all the wood, stacked all the wood, and we were all the way in upstate, past Lake George and all that. I'm upstate New York. I'm upstate New York, where in that town, everybody in that town works at the prison. Everybody in that town is sleeping with each other. It's like everybody in that town. So when you go to prison, you come from Brooklyn, you come from Middletown, Newburgh, the Bronx, and you think that you're gonna get treated like you in Sing Sing, or you're gonna get treated like you at where's the first place you go when you get booked in the city? Rikers Island? Nah, those officers move different because they from inner city. When you go upstate and you look like me and you, it's automatically racism and hate. So you, God forbid, you whistle at one of their sisters or one of their wives and one of their side chicks, one of the officers, they will find a way to beat you almost to death. But let's get back. Let's roll back.
You see what I was talking about? You see where he's going?
We're going to roll back. We're going to slow down a little bit because I'm skipping a lot of stuff here. And I got my guy. We're going to get to it. I'm giving him a little preview right now what we're going to be speaking about.
Got you.
So for me, once my lawyer said to me, yo, you're going to be coming back and down, going to court, being humiliated. This is through the year. Yo, when I walked into this prison, everybody looked like me. The majority black, Hispanic, the minority white. And the white boys were either on crazy drugs or washing dishes. Or one or two of them had the swag from the city that knew how to, but the ones, and then the majority of the other ones that were white were there for sex crimes and molestation and all that nasty, you know, the ones that, you know, don't deserve to be in jail. But we're not going to get into that because, you know, Easter Sunday and all that, we godly was right around. So that's what I experienced. So for me, I start doing my numbers and I start saying, wait a second, 95%, 95 or 90, I think it's anywhere from 75 to 95% of the people incarcerated in the world is in the United States of America. Then I look at I went into a bar. It was in a white town, all white people. I walk in, the guy goes, "That's why Biden's in office, because of assholes like him." Try to pick up a fight with me right away. But you know me, Edison, I'm 10 steps ahead of people. So I said, "Man, sir, if every black, Puerto Rican or other, like you said, minority, if we all, every single one of us voted for Biden, we still couldn't get him in office." We only make up blacks 19%. When you add Hispanics, Chinese, minorities, and all that, we're only at like 29, 30%. So you guys, I said maybe you should look in the mirror and figure that out. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that to say this. If the minority is such a difference in this country, why is the majority, when I'm going to prison, look like me? Why? Because you're charging people, you're able to say, you know, you're going to work for me. Like, for example, I'm out there cutting wood. I was doing it for free to pass time. I was still making my 20, 25 cents an hour. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I didn't even need that commissary. Because when I got back into prison, guess what I was doing? I opened up the barbershop. And I started a whole new system in the prison system. So when the CO see this, that was checking me, they were like, oh, this Edison, man. So you know what they were doing before I got there? They were getting paid by bricks for haircuts. You know what bricks are.
Yep.
What's a brick, officer, sir, sergeant, sir?
Pack of cigarettes.
Get a little closer to the mic.
Pack of cigarettes.
That's how they were
money.
paying.
That's
I don't
money.
smoke
That's money
cigarettes.
in jail.
That's a lot of money in
That's right.
jail.
That's money.
So when I first got there, I was cutting hair in the dorms. Now I'm cutting hair. I've been cutting hair 20 years. So I don't have my equipment though. My new equipment so I had to go back to battery operated, and it was taking me a lot longer, but I was killing them. And then they're like, yo, now I got a whole cabinet full of bricks. I don't smoke. I don't know what to do with them. So then you know what I did? I said, okay, I'm gonna turn these bricks into food. Everybody that smoked, I traded all my cigarettes for everybody's commissary. Yeah, you want more cigarettes? That's what I was doing. Next thing you know, I had a locker full of food.
That's right. That's what they do.
Right? Then I said, then I kept getting bricks. I would get bricks from the people that didn't have family, and that was their currency. I would never shut them down, but I started a Cash App. I don't want bricks. Tell your family if you want to visit and you want to be fresh, tell them I need a Cash App. This is my Cash App. My sister was seeing this Cash App. She's like, how is this guy in prison and this money don't stop? The money didn't stop. Yep. When I came home, my Cash App was through the roof. Grinding, planning. I didn't need nothing from nobody. And you know, I was already pretty sturdy. I was good. But I wasn't gonna be using my savings while I was in there. So I was very busy. I didn't have time for people to catch me slipping. And because I was everybody's barber, everybody was my friend.
Yeah.
So I got, this is another thing. Yo, how could we as people, we're the minorities. The white people are the minorities. But we don't let each other use the phone because I'm blood and you're not. And you got to ask me permission to use the phone. That's the state phone. And if you get on that phone without my permission, you're coming home with $150. Yeah. What's $150, Sergeant?
Slash. Staples.
So when they call guns in prison, I didn't know, he got a gun on him. That means he got a blade on him.
Yeah.
And from your experience, what are these blades that you've seen made of? You see them made of what? Give me a list.
Plexiglass is a common thing in jail because they break the windows. A lot of the windows are made out of plexiglass.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they smuggle them in. I've seen scalpels in jail.
Scalpels?
Scalpels. Ceramic scalpels that don't ring in the metal detector.
See what I'm saying? And that's dangerous stuff. So here I am, I'm paying with fire. I'm doing this year, but I might not make it home. And don't let anybody fool you when they go into prison. I'm a pretty sturdy dude, but anything can happen in there. So you have to be scared. Fear is a part of it, because no matter how big or how much you could fight, there's somebody in there that can that's meaner, that all that. So you just got to be able to be respected and treat people the way you want to be treated. And that was one of the things that I learned in prison, that I could be myself. I never changed. I was always myself, and that worked. You know what I'm saying? That worked. And with that being said, while I'm funneling and figuring all this stuff out, I'm finding out things like, I think the darkest moment that I had while I was in prison was two. I'm gonna tell you two. I get on the phone. My kids, my children, nobody had to worry about putting money on their phone to call me. I had it all set up. Thank God I was making money in there. But I got on the phone with my kids. My daughter goes, "Oh yeah." I said, "What were you guys doing? How was your weekend?" Our weekend was good. We spent it at this my friend's house, this, that. "Oh, okay, who's your friend?" Because I'm very big on that. I wasn't big on my kids sleeping outside of the home. A lot of things could go wrong. Yep. Long story short, while I'm in that prison phone, she goes, "Well, is mommy's boyfriend?" So I'm like, "She got a boyfriend? And you guys are sleeping over there?" She's like, "Yeah, and they're my friends." I think that was the longest walk back from the phone to the cell, because that's when I really realized that, because even though she betrayed me, because of my kids, I was still seeking some hope. That was the needle that broke the camel's back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the second one was, I don't know what she was telling them and justifying what she was doing, but my son gets on the phone, and my son goes to me, "Daddy, did you hit mommy? You used to hit mommy?" I'm like, "Son, have you ever seen mommy hurt? Have you ever seen daddy hit mommy? Have you ever seen mommy crying or bleeding or black eye? You know when people fight, son. Have you ever seen that?" I said, "No." "So why would you believe that? Who told you that?" "Well, mommy told me." Then she grabbed the phone, and I said, "Why would you lie?" "I'm not lying. You know what happened," and hung up the phone. That was the longest, because then I'm like, yo, not only can she lie on paper this bad, she's lying to my babies. That's how you could really ruin relationships.
Yep.
So at that point, that's the time that I felt like I was in prison, where I was just so hopeless. And this is what I'm saying. I thank God for me hearing all these things in that moment, because, there was nothing I could do. I couldn't even call back if I wanted to, because I had to go through so much to get a pickup. And I only had a half an hour. Now, fortunately for me, because of who I am and the powers that be and the people that know me or phone calls, I always had slots. I had so many slots on the phone, being the barber and all the bloods, I had so much slots on the phone that I had a white kid that I worked with. He was out there. He'll be on the show. His name was Red. He was there for a crime he didn't do, and he appealed it all the way to the top court, and he just won. So he is getting a crazy lawsuit. What happened in his case, real quick? Drinking with a buddy. The buddy was driving. The buddy was son of a judge. He crashed and died. The judge said, "Nah, I can't," because he was running for office. So he couldn't have that out there that his son was drinking and killed himself. Yeah. So he blamed it on the other kid.
Wow.
And the other kid had to prove his innocence, So this kid was dear to my heart. When he was in prison, his mother died of cancer. He didn't know if he was going to be able to make it to the funeral. I made so many phone calls and pulled so many strings. The officers that we work with, cutting trees every day, drove him personally to the funeral.
Okay.
Took the cuffs off of him so he could be around his family. This was a good, solid kid, soccer player. First time ever being arrested, first time ever being in trouble. Loses a mother to cancer. And I work with him every day, so I have to deal with this and help him through this. I gave him my phone time for a week so he could be on the phone with his family and be able to deal with that properly. You know what I'm saying? So for me, my incarceration was like as if I had a drug problem, a drinking problem, and I went away to rehab for a year.
Okay.
I had been so successful in life, everything has always went right, that I needed a disaster. I needed some pain. I needed to be hurt, broken, slapped in the face. I needed to hit rock bottom to know what that feels like in order to grow. I was a little arrogant, You know, I had it all. I was paying all these lawyers all this money to keep me from going from prison, thinking that was going to be the problem. But God said, nah, brother, you need this. You need to see what's going on in these places. You need to see how your life could wind up if you flip out or crash out or go put your hands on somebody that betrayed you. All these crazy things that go through our head as men. All it takes is one bad decision, one bad night, and you will be spending years in prison. All right, so now, that was the intro. Let's get to it. With that being said,
that was the intro?
Yeah.
You funny, yo.
That was the intro. That was the intro. Now we're going to get to it.
Yo.
So now that people could kind of understand that I have some experience for 1 year, or what you have an experience of what, 26 years?
26 years.
26 years retired. So you dealt with people like me coming in and out for 26 years. Some like me that came in and you never seen again, and some that were like a revolving door. All right. So my question to you is, what's your perspective on that, right? For the viewers that are about to do some time, that are looking at some time, that are fighting a case right now, what is your outlook on what I just experienced and what others could possibly experience and how to handle that coming in?
My mentality when I was doing the job, right, to treat everyone how they treated me. So if you were the individual that was okay and quiet and didn't bother nobody, you were okay. If you needed something, I made sure you got it if you were supposed to have it. But if you're that guy that's an agitator, you want to act out every day for no reason, I treat you accordingly. You're not going to get nothing extra from me. I make sure you get what you're supposed to get when I can get it to you.
Yeah.
But there's no immediate thing for me to do it.
Right.
You know, that other individual that's well behaved, that's not giving anybody a hard time, I would go out of my way to make sure he gets what he's supposed to get.
There you go.
And that's how things commonly work.
Okay.
With everyone in jail.
Oh, yeah. It's all about respect.
Exactly.
You know, and I appreciate you say that, because you listen, man, you about to do some time, right? And you think you're gonna go in there and be a knucklehead and be disrespectful, violent and all that, you're only gonna make your time that much harder.
That's right.
You're only gonna make that time that much difficult.
Yeah.
Now, this is why I say that was the intro. Because people don't understand the magnitude. That 1 little year that I did, I had so many people in that prison that were jealous of me, but I was protected. They knew that putting their hands on me would create some serious consequences for them. And I'm not talking about the officers and nothing like that, because that's unheard of. But there was people that were my allies within this that were very dangerous.
Okay.
And there was people that were doing life in prison. There was people that had nothing to lose that I figured out how to feed. I've always been a businessman, so, and thank God to Dog in the Yard, Pistol Pete, my brothers, people like yourself, people that I had around me that were able to talk me through this. I was taught before I went in there never to gamble, never to do any drugs, and to never take anything from anybody. The whole time I was there, drug-free, alcohol-free, and I was blown by the amount of drugs and alcohol. I was like, yo, I'm like in an alcohol and drug pit. Like, that's the only thing people were doing. Yes. I felt like there was more drugs and alcohol in the facility than on my block or in my neighborhood where I live. So it was constantly around me. So think about how strong-minded I had to be after those 2 phone calls. Knowing that all I had to do was say, yo, I'll give you a free haircut, man. Just let me get an L. Let me smoke something. Or let me get something harder than that, because I need to not think about this. Fortunately for me, I was never into drugs and stuff like that. A little drinking, a little marijuana back in my day, whatever. You know, I'm not opposed to it, but that's something that I'm also seeking to completely give up and keep out of my life, you know? With that being said, to be dealing, now I know that the world could be crashing around me. I could have no control, no access, no drugs, no alcohol, and still be okay. And that's why we were talking about the packages earlier, right? Because they're smuggling so many things through the packages. Let's talk about the packages real quick. You told me a while back that the easiest way to fix this, so there's not all these drugs coming into the facilities, is to have an organized place in which where they have to order, they can only order from there, and then that distributor sends everything to. So just elaborate on that so you can explain to the people.
Secure vendor program where if an incarcerated individual or their family wanted to order something, they would order it from the website, and the package would come directly from the website to the jail. There's no third parties involved.
Okay.
Instead of packages coming from home, which anyone can send a package to jail, put a fake name on it, you know, and it have contraband in it, and there's no way for us to track it back to the person that sent it.
I got you.
You know,
I got you.
That happens quite often.
That happens all the time. Now, what do you say to the people that say, forget about that? They can send it from whatever vendors. We know the UPS drivers. We'll still figure out a way to get it in there. Is that possible?
Well, the scam that they're doing now is they'll put a package in an Amazon box and ship it to the jail. But we're up on that.
Okay. Now, another thing too is one of the most dangerous things while I was up that I experienced, people were catching episodes on this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Falling out on the floor, foaming out of the mouth. And everybody reacted different to it. I never heard about it. I never even knew it existed until I went to prison. It's called K2. Yep. And this K2, they're spraying it on legal mail now because I guess you guys are scanning all the mail because they were sending it through regular mail.
Yes.
And you guys didn't know that was actually, and for these little strips, they get a whole sheet. Yo, they cut these little strips and they're selling these strips.
Yep, I've seen it.
For a lot of money, you know, bricks, cash apps, I think, I don't know. I hope that I didn't inspire them to start getting sent cash apps for drugs because I was getting sent. Now, that's one thing, though. I will tell you, I told everybody I was dealing with, don't be going around telling everybody how you pay me. Whether you pay me in bricks or everything, because I'm not going to make the same deal with everybody. I didn't want that whole cash app thing to get out and then me get shut down.
It's already out. We know they've been inmates are using Cash App. We've been aware of it.
Okay.
They're doing it for different things.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, thank God I was doing it for legal things. Now, could I have got in trouble for that? If anybody cared to get me in trouble for it?
It would have been hard for them to tie it directly back to you.
Okay.
It would have been hard to do it.
Okay.
So I'm just saying no.
All right.
The way we intercept these things is via phone calls and communication.
Oh, okay.
I've literally patted an inmate down, and he had a Cash App number in his pocket. And I said, "What's this?" You know, of course, he wouldn't tell me what it was. I know what it is. You know, but you know, what do I do with it? There's nothing I can do.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, no doubt. So, listen, just back to the reality of the situations, like, I was in a very dangerous place. I'm in Washington, all right? And right across from Washington, it was Great Meadow. Now, Great Meadow just got shut down. So I could have had a really big lawsuit. Let me tell you what happened. All of a sudden, they say, Edison, pack up. You're out of here. And I thought that it was because I had such an influence where I was that they needed me to get out. But it was because I had filled out a long time ago, like in the beginning of my bid, that I wanted, you know, that maybe I had a little sleep apnea. So, you know, I found out in there that everything medically is free. So I said, yo, you know, let me get out of the thing. Let me see about. So they were sending me to sleep overnight at Great Meadow to do this whole sleep study on me. So we all panicking because we thinking, oh, they shipping Edison now. And I packed all that stuff. When I get there, they made a big mistake. My lawyer was pissed. And this is just me speaking to my lawyer on the phone because my family was panicking. Where is he? What's happening? So he asked me, he was like, yo, how did they take you in there? And I said, they took me in. I was like, he was like, were you handcuffed? I was like, yeah. He was like, were there other inmates around you? I was like, yeah, they were getting chow, was around, and you were handcuffed? And they weren't? Do you know what could have happened to you? Somebody could have assaulted you to get out of there to go to another jail or something. They can't do that. They can't have you. I didn't know that. But I said, man, I ain't trying to sue nobody. I don't want to go to no more court. I've never sued anybody in my life, and I'm not trying to go to court no more, man. I just want to go home. My freedom is my lawsuit, you heard?
Yeah.
So it was a pretty dangerous place. I'm upstate New York. I'm hearing, now circling back, remember I said we was going to get back to this, right?
I'm ready.
I'm driving through these towns. I'm seeing it with my own eyes. Most people didn't have the experience that I did because I went to prison and then I went around town cutting, because we went from cutting all the wood in the facility and everything. We had a barn and everything out there, chopped it up. Then we would take it all and put it in vans. And we would have to deliver all this wood to old ladies, to women who lost their husband, are struggling financially. So there was a program put together through the jail and through us, what we did, that gave back to the community. So while I was in there, all around Christmas and everything, while I was delivering wood to these families, these women would literally make us sandwiches, give us chips, water. Thank you so much. Oh, son, can you put it right here by the door so that I can just grab it? These were all people that didn't have any money, that we were able to provide wood to last them the whole winter. So even though I was in a messed up situation being in prison, God still gave me the opportunity to be Edison and be amongst my community, giving back. Busting my ass, chopping up wood, stacking it heavy. This is the thing that I respected about cutting trees is there's no shortcut. Once you say timber and down, now you got to pick that joint up. Now you got to chop that thing up, break it down, and it's heavy, you know? So to be able to go amongst my community and be able to do this, I got to see all the people in the community. Then I would see those same people in the prison. Then I started doing my homework. Now, mind you, the barbershop in the prison was right next to the, guess what, law library.
Okay.
So now I had the inmates that were running the law library getting me whatever information so I can help inmates. While I was there, in a short year, I helped 25 to 30 different inmates go home off a work release. They didn't know that they had different documentations. I've been helping people get home in so many different ways because they just don't know that there's so many different programs and there's so many different ways in which you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I go back to, I really could have died in this place though. Something could have went wrong. And last time you were here, we were discussing about an inmate that actually was murdered. And like I was saying before, all those officers up there, they know each other. They protect each other, their family. So you against them ain't happening. All right? And they will kill you. And I actually had to, so one of the officers while we were delivering wood took me to the cemetery of all the dead inmates that nobody claimed. I couldn't believe how many, and I'm like, yo, they're just throwing people back here. They're killing people that look like me and you up there, and they hurt. Yo, I've seen other inmates get grabbed, brought outside into a van, beaten all the way till they got into solitary. Driven around, beaten, all because they said something to somebody and then dropped back off. All the paperwork that they did, wrote it all so it could benefit them and protect them. So that's what that's why you're backed by popular demand, because people want us to talk a little bit about that. So first and foremost, I was in Washington. So this facility that this happened at is where?
Mid-state.
Mid-state. And Mid-state is upstate as well.
Correct.
Is it a little farther than Washington? I think it is, right?
No, I don't think it's that far.
Okay, all right. So what transpired, obviously, was that a man was killed. That man being?
Messiah Mantwi.
Mm-hmm.
Early March. I want to say it was March 2nd. And I've been listening to the when the district attorney unsealed the indictment.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds crazy if you had the opportunity to watch it.
Where can you get this information? Where can you see the unsealed indictment?
Look on YouTube.
On YouTube?
YouTube.
Okay.
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
First off, there's already 6 staff that are already working with the prosecution. They cut deals.
Wow.
All right. So now these 6 are going to be testifying against the other 10.
Wow.
There are 10 staff that are involved. They're being prosecuted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This thing, from the beginning, it sounds all screwed up. First of all, I'm not going to say anything to try to justify an inmate dying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I want to give you a little background. Like I said, I'm not trying to justify what these guys did.
Mm-hmm.
These guys have been severely stressed out for several years now. You know, our governor hasn't done nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it doesn't justify what they did, but I want to give you the background
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
People are angry. Staff are angry. They're going to work every day. They're angry. They're being mandated. They're doing doubles and triple shifts. All right? And they kind of feel betrayed.
Okay.
Okay? So now knowing that little bit of background
Mm-hmm.
gives you an idea of the mentality of some of what's going on.
Great.
All right. Again, I don't agree with anybody dying in there. It shouldn't have happened.
Right.
Right. But just listening to the unsealed indictment, these guys didn't have body cameras on.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's gonna have to answer questions to why. Why did they pull an inmate out of his cell and nobody had a body camera on?
Why is that?
Exactly. That's number one. Everybody has body cameras now.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back a little further, even before body cameras, right? See, I used to be part of that team, all right? And as part of that team, somebody on that team had to have a camcorder.
Mm-hmm.
They were recording everything that was done.
Correct.
Now, this is before body cameras. I'm sure even with body cameras on, it's still a requirement. I'm
Right.
sure it's still department policy.
Correct.
Because they want the big picture, somebody in the background recording everything.
Right.
So they can see everything that's going on.
Right.
That the body cam might not pick up.
Right.
Why didn't that happen this day? Who gave that order for this guy to be removed from his cell without any camera coverage?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason we use cameras is for several reasons. Number one, it's because of all the litigation that the department has had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So for years, we've used the old school camcorder
Right.
before we went to body cameras. Everything is documented. Those tapes are saved just in case anything ever comes up. I don't understand why this day this inmate was removed from his cell and nobody recorded it. Now, what was the emergency? Because to remove an inmate from his cell, there's protocol that has to be followed.
Right.
All right. If he's moving to a special housing unit from population, or if he's going to be leaving the jail for whatever reason and he's refusing this protocol that has to be followed. There's a lot of people that have to come to that inmate's cell and talk to him and try to talk him out before force is used. It doesn't even sound like any of that happened.
They brought him over to a medical unit, or he was in the medical unit.
Yes, he was. He was in a medical unit. Sounds like he was in the infirmary, correct?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And still with that, especially being in that unit, you would think that they would have a camera recording everything. God forbid anything went wrong.
That all depends on the jail also. Not every jail has cameras in those areas. They're coming. Like the jail that I worked at, they had cameras in that area. So yeah, it would have been recorded with stationary cameras.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know if Mid-State has stationary cameras in their infirmary.
Well, now the thing about it too, my question to you is, with these 6 inmates, these 6 officers that are now cooperating with the district attorney's office, right?
Correct.
They were also probably there. They just probably.
I'm going to assume that they were in the area. I don't believe they were involved in the actual force that was used. Don't believe that they put hands on the inmate. But I want to say they were probably in the area.
All right. Now, the prosecutors, you told me too, and I want to get this on air, that they actually had breakfast.
It was revealed in the indictment.
We'll see that
they had breakfast the following morning to discuss the details of what they did.
Right. Now, if that's in the indictment, that means that probably one of those 6.
Somebody sitting at that breakfast table.
Told.
It's one of them guys that's working with the prosecution. I would bet money on it.
So these guys are fried.
100%.
What kind of punishment could you imagine?
Well, I would imagine with everything that's going on that the judge is going to be real hard with whatever sentence comes down. That's number one. But beyond that, now these guys got to worry about losing everything else because there's going to be civil cases behind this too. The families are going to sue.
Yeah.
And what the Department of Corrections is going to do is they're going to say, because what they did was so heinous, it was outside of the scope of their duty.
Right.
We're not going to indemnify them.
Right.
So whatever you want to sue for, go directly for them.
Well, this is the thing, man. This could have been me. For whatever reason, just like you said, frustration, aggravation, getting stuck, working, all of a sudden one thing escalates. I'm in handcuffs and they're beating the crap out of me and I die. There's a lot of people they beat the crap out of and nobody even knows about it because the paperwork and the penmanship, that the way that they put it together and lied on documentation and paperwork makes it look. So there's another incident that we were talking about with no cameras.
This second one, the one that happened early March, yes.
What was the first one?
That was prior to the strike. That was at Marcy, where the inmate died also. They had body cameras on that one.
They have body cameras on that one. But they were
in standby mode. In standby mode, they only record video, no audio.
That's the one that we were talking about last
that's
time.
The one we spoke about the last time, correct.
And is there any update in what's going on with that case?
No, they're still going back and forth to trial.
Oh.
They refused the plea deals that were offered, and they're going to be going to trial.
Oh, okay. Wow. And that was upstate as well, right?
Yes.
So it's the same dynamics of what we're talking about here.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So how could that be, though? You know, could you explain that to the people in regards to how could it be that there's no cameras in the second? The other one had body cameras, and now this one's don't have no body cameras.
Someone's going to have to answer that question. And whoever ordered that, it had to be someone higher than a sergeant that ordered that operation to remove that individual from his cell in the infirmary. That person is going to have to answer why these guys didn't have cameras.
Well, this is my whole thing. If we have a situation that happened prior to the strike where everybody had body cams on, but they thought that they were off, but they were actually on standby. So the cameras were recording everything, but not audio. Just months later, we have the same situation, but no body camera. So that's like you said, it has to be a protocol. You're gonna go get somebody, you have to put the body cameras on and all that.
Kind of seems like it was purposely done, right?
Absolutely.
Somebody's gonna have to answer those tough questions.
You heard that, man. You heard it first here on the Come Up Show, man. Israel would love to have you back as this thing progresses so we could keep our viewers up to date on what's going on with this case, so we can help and prevent people from going to prison, showing people what can happen to you. This could be you. You know what I'm saying? And we have to find change. And also that intermedium, you know what I'm saying, as inmates, incarcerated individuals, and correctional officers, sergeants like yourself, you know what I'm saying? And just that intermedium of, you know, an ex-inmate and an ex-sergeant, man, my brother.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I just want to say something to anybody that's still doing that job. If they're not paying attention, even if you're in the area and you weren't involved, you're going to be held accountable. They expect you to intervene.
What do you mean by that?
You have to stop whatever's going on. they expect you to intervene, just like in society. When police officers in an excessive use of force, they expect who's ever with him to stop him. Same thing is going on in jail.
Yeah.
This is why they're prosecuting so many people.
And when you guys sign your contract, oath, and everything that you swear in, that's a part of it, right?
Right? They have a duty to do the right thing.
Do the right thing, man. You know, do the right thing. You're right. And that's what needs to be done. You know what I'm saying?
If they don't, they're going to be held accountable. That's the bottom line. If they don't intervene, they're going to be held accountable, just like the guy that's actually doing the damage.
There you go. You heard it from the sergeant himself, man. Thank you for making that statement. That's a strong statement, man. It's Yap to come up. As you know, man, we always end this show with prayer, with Easter and everything all around us, and family, fun, and all that. We're going to go in on this one. So with that being said, Spirit of the living God, I thank you for your grace, love, and mercy, for the come up show here on Wall Street, for this amazing interview, Father God. Let it be full with information, Father, full of just life that could be poured into somebody that's going through some trials and tribulations right now, Father, that's maybe in the facility right now, that's watching this podcast, Father God. Allow us to just touch a heart. If we could just touch one and change a life, if we could just change one, Father. And thank you for this opportunity for us to be transparent and to be able to have an honest relationship. Especially for me, it's tough sharing some of these things, especially, you know, refusing my family to visit me because I didn't want to have to strip naked in front of another man to make sure I didn't have anything on me coming to a visit and going back. The loneliness, the heartbreak phone calls, Father God. Thank you for giving me the strength to endure all that pain. And thank you for, Father, for protecting Israel throughout his 26 years and for blessing him with the knowledge and saving him through cancer, saving his life, Father God, and allowing him to just still be here to be able to help, you know, spread the gospel. And this I pray in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
DWI Music.